The main policy achievements for the EU in the foreign policy realm in 2017, at least at the high political level, would be, to my mind, maintaining unity between the EU member states on sanctions against Russia. Russia has been, through various means, infiltrating in the domestic politics of EU member states in order to disrupt national elections or the media, to send out its own story, in essence. And despite all of this pressure, the EU member states have maintained unity on rolling over the sanctions which it had adopted on Russia's aggressive action in Donbass and Crimea. Then I think the launch of PESCO, the Permanent Structured Cooperation in the area of security and mainly defense, by 25 of the 28 member states, pushes the envelope on security and defense cooperation in the European Union substantially further, where this policy domain had been developing very slowly over the years past. And so 2018 should see a concretization in the capability development of the EU's military arm. And then perhaps at a more specific, more granular level, I think it is important to also pinpoint the Armenia agreement, which EU negotiated as a sort of third way agreement to allow countries in the Eastern Partnership to move closer in its trade negotiations and cooperation with the European Union, whilst at the same time being a member of the customs union of the Eurasian Economic Union, which is dominated by Russia. As we know, Armenia and then later Ukraine had to pull out of association agreements under pressure of Moscow and have since been in limbo as to rearranging their ties with both sides.
Well, I think the top concern for the European citizen was migration. After the shock of 2015 and 2016, that was quite understandable. And migration was the top priority of EU foreign policy. The EU tried to engage with the countries of origin and the countries of transit to work on the dismantling of smuggling networks, to negotiate agreements on readmission and returns. Some progress was achieved in this work. The Turkey-EU deal held together despite a very turbulent relationship between the EU and Turkey. And even from Libya, the flows came down towards the end of last year, mainly due to the lead of Italian diplomacy. So some progress was achieved, but a lot remains to be done until the EU really has a sustainable external management of migration.